This is kind of my first time ever making a video in anything besides Snapchat. So I'm a little out of practice, not even out of practice. I've never even really done this before. But cut me a little slack. I'm new to this. Uh, we'll get to we'll get to that in a minute.
Logan? Logan? Huh, that's weird. Huh. What the heck? Oh. Logan? Logan? Hello? Is anyone down here? Logan?
Ubisoft,
No.
are you here to take my games?
I don't think anybody wants any of those.
Oh. Okay.
Pay attention. Don't. I know you're trying to watch this while you're asleep. I do it too. Turn it on. Pay attention to me. Okay. Lately, I've been thinking about why there's this itch in the back of my brain of why I want to collect physical stuff of all my favorite games when digital is just so convenient. Like, you ain't got to go to the store or anything like that. It's all so simple. But I thought it was just because, like, I like to have something to look at on my shelves when I know there's got to be something more to it than that. And I think it's also just because I learned about all the major downsides to digital and how there's some hopeful aspects of preservation of this hobby that I really like when it comes to physical stuff. So, you know, why collect physical when digital's just so easy and convenient? I kind of want, just hear me out. I kind of want to just give you an idea of why I think that this is like an important issue before you make your next purchase. So just hear me out a little bit. Physical. Having a game physically means I can still play it even if it's been removed from digital storefronts, which is happening at like an alarming rate if you think about it. Think about the whole eShop thing being taken down. Like, it's not there anymore. You can't access that stuff. There's some stuff on like the eShop that was like the only way certain games could be played in North America at all. It was like some random old school NES game that I didn't pick up because I was like, I don't know, I'm not really wanting to play it. But I probably should have, just for the sake of, I probably have no other way to try that game now. It's like some kind of samurai game or something. But if I own the game, I can play it whenever I want because the license is tied to the disc, cartridge, whatever you want to call it. Whereas if you have something digitally, the license isn't tied to a cartridge that is yours, and a developer can't just like delist it. If you have the game itself, you can just, plug it in or play it. But if it's delisted off of stores and, you can't play it legally in a sense because, oh, this game was taken down because we don't want you to be able to play it anymore. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is no longer available to play on the Xbox 360. It was an arcade game that you could play on there. And you can't play it now because if you connect to the internet with that game at all, it will remove it from your Xbox if you still have it. Which fucking sucks. I probably should cut that out. I don't know if we're a minute in, so yeah, I'm probably gonna cut that F word out. Also, I've just kind of noticed that if you buy them in person, I feel like it's maybe showing like distributors and companies that hey, there's still a market for physical stuff. I like having this. I like having this rather than this, you know? Sometimes this is nice. Sometimes it's cheaper. But I like to look at this. I like to know that, yeah, I've got that. That's not going anywhere unless I get robbed. That's the downside of physical stuff. If you get robbed, you're just kind of screwed. But, you know, at least for now I've got it. And at least, you know, I know that it's like a thief that stole it. And, you know, that's why I lost it. A digital game, the company can just take it down and steal it from you. And that's a problem, you know? That's not even like a bad guy. Well, yeah, it is. But still. Also, just seeing what games I have on my shelf to still complete, it just kind of helps me keep track of what I still need to play outside of a backlog that I keep. I don't remember everything I have on my backlog, and sometimes just having the game sitting out can really help with just if I look over at my desk and I'm like, oh shit, there's a game that I still haven't played yet and I really want to get around to. Well, I know that I have to get to it because it's right there. So, you know, I just think that's nice. It kind of helps me keep track of stuff, and I just really enjoy it, you know? That's also just kind of cool to look over and see something that you know you're probably going to enjoy, and just kind of you have something to look forward to after you're done playing a game you're already playing, or, you know, working on something like this. I know that I'm probably going to be staring at the games that I have on my desk while I'm trying to edit this video together because I bought a bunch of new ones from a retro game store and I really want to play them, but I was determined to get this out. So I'm going to be staring at those things for a little bit longer before I can really crack into them. It's this element of sharing that you can have too, you know? You can trade games with friends, or just like, you know, you can just like hand a game to your friend and just be like, hey, you want to try this for like a weekend or so? You know, just give it back when you're done. You can't really do that with digital so much. I mean, a weird flash. You can't really do that so much. I mean, there's stuff like Game Share, but, you know, it's just not exactly the same. And also, just like digital copies of games, Game Share can be revoked from either party at any time. And I have no one to game share with. I don't think nobody's ever really wanted to do it with me. So, you know, that's why I don't have a lot of experience with that. But that's what I know about it. That's all I know about it. So that, you know, that's there. That's something you can do. And also it just kind of comes to mind of that whole, like, Sony commercial where they basically were talking shit on Xbox when they had, like, this ad where the two guys, they just hand a game between each other. They're like, this is how you share games on PlayStation. And they just have two executive guys just going, here you go. It's just, that's a cool commercial. I like that. I hate Microsoft. Just wanted to put that in there. Don't cut that out. Also, I just love collecting them. I get this really deep sense of satisfaction when I get like a new game or a game I've already played, like a digital version of, but I really, really liked it. I just get really satisfied when I have it on my shelf or in my drawer of games and stuff, and it's just, I get this big sense of satisfaction, and I'm really happy that I have it. And it's just like, I can look over or look in the drawer or look on my desk, and I'm just like, there it is. That was fun. I like that game a lot. I can't wait to play it again for the 4th time. I love Resident Evil 4 a lot, so I can't wait to play it again and talk about how it's awesome and stuff. It's just, it feels good to know that, yeah, a digital copy is nice and a lot of times cheaper. We'll get to that later. But having the game there where I can see it, and it's just, I know it's mine. It feels like it's mine to an extent. Whereas, you know, digital stuff, it just doesn't quite feel the same. It used to before I knew about the fact that we don't technically own digital games. That was what really kind of made me think, huh, it's not so cool that I got a bunch of games on sale because they could be gone anytime, you know, any time of the day, just for completely arbitrary reasons or stuff that has nothing to do with me. I'm still on the physical section of this video, so I probably should stop talking about digital just for now. But we'll get to it. But there are some downsides to physical stuff. Like, obviously, you have to worry about stuff like, you know, like I said earlier, somebody breaking into your house and stealing this stuff. And then it's just like, well, at least if I had the digital version on the cloud could have backed it up. You know, unless they steal your hard drive and stuff, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But it's easier to recover than something like, don't autofocus on that, this game. I bought this game for like $200 at a retro game store. If this is stolen, I'm never seeing this again. So, please don't steal it from me. I can see it in your eyes. Don't do it. You also have to worry about just stuff not working after a while. Like, luckily, this seems like it's in pretty good condition. But give it, like, you know, 15 years, and when I'm, like, in my 30s? 40s? How old am I? Who cares? When I'm old and boring, this might suddenly stop working. Because it might get scratches on it. Or I might have, like, drooled on it because I'm old and dying or something. Stuff just degrades over time, you know? And unfortunately, as much as I want this stuff to stay forever, and I feel more secure in owning it, eventually, just like everything else, eventually it will become dust. And that sucks, but I was going to drop it on the ground, like in a very casual manner, but this is very expensive, so I'm just going to, like, set it down. Don't judge me, I'm broke, and that was a lot of money. Oh, and one of my favorite things about physical stuff now, okay, not favorite, definitely not my favorite, but something that's just one of the joys of our corporate overlords of Xbox, Microsoft, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. They love them both so much. Is that physical games on Xbox half the time don't even have the damn game on it. A lot of times it's just the license. So you might as well just be buying a freaking digital copy. Because Xbox didn't even put on a disc. You just bought a piece of glass, you idiot. You like Game Pass though, right? You like Game Pass? Ignore the other kind of shady business stuff we got going on and the fact that our servers are breaking down every like 5 days. Buy Game Pass and don't worry about any of that. In addition to that, some games aren't up to date on patches. So, for I think a good example of this would be Sonic Colors Ultimate. A game that I was pretty excited about because I really, despite its flaws, I love the original game. But it was like, man, I can't really live, because I was big into live streaming back a few years back. I couldn't live stream a lot of Sonic games, which I really liked doing because they're easy to talk over and play. But I couldn't do that for Sonic Colors because it was a Wii game and I had no way to do that. But finally, Sonic Colors Ultimate. Sonic for the Xbox. Or Sonic Colors for the Xbox. There's a lot of Sonic games on the Xbox. You know, they're trying to bury that one that came out in 2006. But I still know it's on there. I have it on disc. You can't delete that from me. It's in my brain. It's never going away. I kind of weirdly love that game for some reason. I don't know why. I just do. More fun than Sonic Forces. That game plays itself. At least Sonic 06, you know. At least it feels like I'm playing to some extent. This has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I'm going to leave that in anyway. Oh, right. I completely lost my train of thought with that because of Sonic the Hedgehog, because I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with my brain that makes Sonic the Hedgehog just kind of take over stuff sometimes, and I'll lose all train of thought. I'm about to lose it again. But what I was trying to say earlier is that some games aren't up to date on patches. Like Sonic Colors Ultimate was awful at launch. You could probably make the argument that it's still probably not too great now. I've heard that just because some of the stuff is fixed, it's not necessarily like a really good game. But the thing is, there is some stuff there that was fixed. Mainly, if you bought the Switch version, you were playing an epilepsy warning as a game. I might try to get some footage up of that. If not, who cares? Just keep listening to me. You don't need something paying attention. You don't need stuff going on all the time on the screen, you know. And I'm not buying a copy of Sonic Colors Ultimate just to play the unpatched version and maybe have a seizure myself. You can just take my word for it, or I'll put some footage up on the screen. You know. Might need to cut that out. I might not, though. I haven't decided yet. I legit have not even got to the main point yet. But when I said something about, you know, game not being up to date on patches and stuff, a lot of games are doing this thing now where there's a day one patch. And the thing is, it's like, oh, you bought this brand new Pokemon game? Are you excited for it? You got an internet connection, right? Good. Okay, you're gonna need it. You need to download this patch now, or else your Switch is gonna explode. A lot of games now are just putting out games that are unfinished at the time of production, and then by the time the game comes out, they'll put out a patch that is a little bit of damage control. And while, yeah, it's nice that you can kind of fix something that's broken, it kind of just sucks that a lot of this stuff is just broken from the get-go. Like, think about it this way. If I don't have an internet connection, how am I supposed to patch this game, Nintendo? If I'm playing Pokemon Scarlet in the middle of the boonies where I live, there used to not be an internet connection out here. So if the game was broken, it didn't matter. You were screwed. You don't get to download a day one patch. You have to play the buggy thing. You should get internet. But you're 12, so you can't buy internet because you don't know how to do anything. Where am I going with this? And also, sometimes it's really annoying to when you have to copy the disc. Like, you know how it is when you put a game in your PlayStation 5 and you put the game in and you're like, oh, I can't wait to play this. And then it's just like copying application over. And then it's like, oh, okay, that didn't take too long. Well, now I get to play it. It's like installing update file. Really? I want to play it now. You have to copy it and then update it? At least, I'll give this. Digital, you don't have to do that. You kind of can cut out the middleman there, but I'll get to it. We'll get there. And yeah, there's this whole idea that stuff is inconvenient. Like, people say it's inconvenient to go to the store and buy a game at GameStop or something like that. And I can see that mindset because, you know, there's the whole having to put up with, you know, he wants a new membership program, Pro, Plus Pro, Mega Plus rewards. No, I kind of just want you to hand me Resident Evil 7 used for $15, please. Can you just, you know, can we just speed this along a little bit? But I do like to go to the store and pick out a game because, like I said, I like just having them on the shelf. So, there's that. There you go. I mean, like, yeah, it is inconvenient, but it's an inconvenience I don't mind dealing with, I guess. So, there's that. But that is a downside for a lot of people. Me, not so much. Also, a lot of people will say that, oh, well, you know, it's just cheaper to get this stuff digitally. A lot of times it is. And that is the unfortunate aspect of it. Yeah, when there's older stuff, it's either going to be pretty cheap. Like, let's say you want to go buy a game that's like, maybe, like, $30 used of like a PS3 game, whereas like back in the day it was 60. Sometimes you can get a good deal. It's like cheaper, right? And then you got Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. It was $200, and I really feel like I made some mistakes in my life, but this is one mistake that is never ever gonna be undone. This is a cry for help to some extent. Moving on. But there, yeah, like I said, there's this whole idea that it's just cheaper. It is cheaper, but it's more secure, I feel like. Also, it's just this whole thing of digital just has these really good sales. The Steam sale comes to mind, and then right now, it might be gone now, but I'll check later. There's the PlayStation Summer Sale, but there's also just PlayStation sales all the time. Like, yeah, Xbox too, but I don't care about that as much. But there's these sales of these games that are normally, like, pretty expensive. Like, you'll see something that's like, like the latest game, like, oh, Call of Duty Earth 2 or whatever, and it'll be like, normally the game's like $70, but, oh, we got a publisher sale going on, so it's $30 now. Sounds pretty good, especially because I'm never going to pay full price for a Call of Duty game again. But, there's that issue of that is so much more feasible. Yeah, why drive to the store and go pick out a game that I know is not on sale? Because retailers never put them on sale unless they're used. And sometimes, you'll see it every now and then. Like your GameStops, I think EB Games is like the Canadian equivalent, but I don't even know if they're open anymore from what I understand. Either way, who cares? But that's the problem, is that there's so many instances of just games in physical locations just being more expensive. Or never going on sale, more like. But I also think that a lot of this actually has to do with the publishers of the games, not so much the retailers and stuff. Because what comes to mind a lot is, a game like Sonic Origins Plus, right? That game is like Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3, and now Origins Plus has like 20 Game Gear games included with it. The whole package is $40 flat if you want the physical copy of it. I think it's $40 flat if you want like the game anyway. I think it might have been $30 if you didn't want the Plus, which added all the other stuff. But if you want to get the game physically, like I did, because, for some reason I really like Sonic the Hedgehog, I bought Sonic Origins Plus for like $40. That was decided by Sega, I believe. Like the new game coming out, the Sonic X Shadow Generations, I still hate that name, is going to be like $50, I'm pretty sure. That seems to be decided by Sega rather than stores, because I'll look around the PlayStation section and everything else I see is like, $60, $70. And then a Sonic game, they're like, look, we know it's hard enough to get you guys to even trust us, so $40, please buy it. Like, and yeah, I think a lot of that is decided by publishers. Like, for example, another good example being Tears of the Kingdom. That game was $70 when most Switch games are like $60. Like a base game. Like, yeah, sometimes there's like DLC and stuff, and like Scarlet and Violet, probably has, with the quality that it was made, it's like probably worth like $40 how a 3DS game is. Whereas, now if you want the complete package, it's $90 and the game barely runs. And I like the game, and I'm saying that, but still, it's kind of inexcusable. I'll get to that at some point too, not in this video. I got words for you, Pokemon. We're gonna have a discussion, and you're gonna not listen because I know you're not gonna watch it. But I'm still gonna blabber about it because it'll make me feel better. Either way, and I think the most recent example is Final Fantasy 16. The year that came out, I believe it was 2023. That was my game of the year. I loved that game. It was amazing. And it didn't sell super well, from what I understand. Or I guess it sold well, but not what they wanted. It wasn't like, Final Fantasy Rebirth numbers, I guess. Which apparently, I think I heard at some point that that's going down a little bit too, but it still sold well when it came out. But Final Fantasy 16 was recently brought down from like, and I don't know if this sale is still going on, but at the time, a few weeks back, when I went to buy the game for my brother for his birthday, the game went from being $70 without the DLC to like 40 or 50 or something like that. And I noticed it was like that on Amazon too. So I think that was just like something that Square Enix decided rather than, the retail store I was at, because it didn't say it was on sale. It just said the game is like 40 now. I'm like, huh, that's weird. I thought it was like $70. I guess it's just something that the publishers themselves can decide. So, there's that to consider and all of that. It's not, so the prices can be a little much, but I don't necessarily think that's always retailers' fault. Now this is Scalper's fault. This game was like $60 when it came out. It's like 200. It was like 200 for me now. Like to be in the condition that it's in. You're the problem. For used stuff, you're the problem. I really need to get better. I need to put this down because I need to stop thinking about how I spent $200 on this game. Oh, don't you just love it when the video you've been working on for 2 weeks, the footage gets corrupted and 48 minutes worth of footage you have to do over. Isn't that great? Either way, we're done with the physical section of the video. That part, luckily, was intact. Even though I did realize I didn't actually say an outro in that part of the video. So, we're done with physical. We're moving on to digital. So, obviously, I've got a lot of stuff to say about the digital aspect of gaming. Because why even make a video like this if there wasn't anything to say? I mean, like, obviously, there's a lot of advantage to digital, and it's just so great, yeah, right? No! Oh, let me think. What is it about digital games that I don't like? Let me think. Oh, that's right. You don't own them. You own a license to play them. I don't even know if you technically own the license, but still, it can just be revoked at any time. It should absolutely be illegal for companies to do this. It's just, to me, it just comes off as super unethical. And the fact that a lot of people just kind of ignore it and just be like, it's easier to download. Yeah. That's how they get you. That's how they get you, and then they get your money, and then when they don't want they already got your money. They can delete the game. Look at all this. If you didn't have it downloaded or physical, fuck you. Like, it's gone. You're fucked. It doesn't even sound legal for them to be able to do something like that. To just revoke a product that you've bought just based on some reasons that have nothing to do with you. Most commonly, this is because of a temporary license that a publisher has running out. For example, the Deadpool game, they had a temporary license to make a Deadpool video game. And when that license ran out, they could no longer distribute it. So they also just pulled it from, like, storefronts and stuff. Which, yeah, pull it from storefronts, but I think they also made it, the thing was, it made it to where you couldn't re-download it again. So if you didn't have it, luckily I had it used on a disc, no case, but still, I can play this. Most people can't. And then they brought the game back for a bit, and then they lost the license again. So now it's gone again. And the Deadpool game's fun. I really liked it. A lot of fun, and you can't play it. I can. You can't. Too bad. But that's the thing, is it's a lot more common with games with actual products in it. Like, I believe they took down a Forza game recently due to the temporary license on a type of car. The publisher of this game no longer had that temporary license, so they couldn't push the game out anymore. But now they just took it from storefronts. So if you hadn't already had it downloaded, and I don't know, they might have even taken it off of downloads. I'm not going to look that up right now, but I feel like I might have heard something like that. I don't care enough to look that up. I've got too much other stuff to say. But either way, the problem is they can just take this stuff down due to something on their end not working. A license from them being revoked, therefore, they revoke your license. You had nothing to do with that. Why should you be punished? Because they're not doing the due diligence to keep that stuff up. I don't know. It makes sense to them, I guess. It just the logic to me is just so backwards. It's like you buy pizza, right? And when you buy the pizza, Little Caesars all of a sudden loses the license to pizza, so they come take your pizza. This is fucking stupid. Let's cut that. Keep in mind, companies aren't even trying to hide this anymore. Philippe Tremblay, exec at Ubisoft, he's flat out gone on record saying people should feel comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off. What? Where's the... No! And I'll try to put a link to one of the articles I saw on that. Looked at the IGN one most recently. I'll probably put that up on screen. The biggest example I can think of, and it's not written up on here because technically it is going to be available to the public again, of companies just not respecting the fact that you have purchased a product from them, was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. A game I've wanted to play so badly. And I know I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I want to explain it in more detail. If I didn't before. And if I did explain it before, I don't care. I'm going to explain it again. Because maybe you skipped to this section of the video. Who knows? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was a game that was on Xbox 360's arcade. It was a port of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And it was immensely popular. It was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The franchise is fantastic, despite the fourth one. But, moving on. The game was up for a certain amount of time, and then after a little while, I'm not sure why it was brought down. I've never actually really looked into it. I just know that it always was not going to be available. They took it off of Xbox Live Arcade storefronts, so you couldn't purchase it anymore. Okay, that sucks, but at least I can still play it, right? No. No, you can't. Because if you connect it to the internet with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on your Xbox 360, and the internet connection, like Xbox Live, would detect that you had a game that was not available on your system, it would delete it from your hard drive. I can't even comprehend how that's supposed to be fair. You know? Like, I get not selling it anymore. Okay, I don't get that. But I understand them not selling it. Them just flat out taking it off of your system is insane to me. It feels so dystopian. And this was a long time ago. And stuff like that can still happen now, which is insane to me. Insane. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, that probably racist movie on Disney, Song of the South. Yeah, you probably shouldn't watch it. You probably shouldn't have it. But, you know, my dad still somehow has a copy of it. I've never watched it. I'm not racist. I've never watched it. I'm not. Maybe we should cut the Song of the South portion out of the video. So much so that Xbox 360s with Marvel vs. Capcom on it were going for like insane prices. And people, I remember seeing a video where, and I doubt I'll be able to find it, so don't expect me to put it in, where a guy had Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on a 360 he bought, and he wrote, like, he taped a piece of paper onto it and wrote in big letters, "Don't ever connect to the internet." Because the thing that sucks, until the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection got announced, that was probably one of the easiest ways to actually play Marvel vs. Capcom 2, unless you just had an arcade in town that happened to still have the cabinet. That's insane! Don't even get me started on PT. That game, I would shed actual tears over actually getting to play it. Because I would love to so bad. It's also got a similar thing to that, where people were selling PlayStation 4s for ludicrous prices just because PT was still downloaded on them. And after you play them for a certain amount of time, Sony will detect that you're playing a product that you're not supposed to have, and they'll delete it off your hard drive if you don't stop playing it and disconnect from it in like a certain time frame. That's insane. It just baffles me how you can get away with that. I would love to play PT again. Or for the first time. If I could wish on a star, it would come out. In its entirety. Silent Hills, that is. Hell, I'd settle just for PT. But still, let's move on. And like I said earlier, digital having better sales sounds like a great idea. But the fact that companies can just take this shit away from you kind of takes away from a lot of the good aspects of it, you know? It just hurts. Because I have so many games on my Xbox One downloaded on there. And the fact that I don't own a single one of them just really pisses me off. I did get some good sales, though. I will always hand that to digital. They're way better about sales. One of the most annoying instances of how digital games are handled is if you've bought a PlayStation 4 or 5. I've never really had this issue with the PS3 games I've downloaded, but also this situation is so specific. But then again, it doesn't happen on that now I'm thinking about it. If you buy a digital game on your PlayStation 4, on your, let's say your PSN account that's connected to the store, you buy a game on there, and then maybe you lose the password for your old account, make a new password, or make a new account on your console, and then you go to play your downloaded game. What's that little lock on it? I bought this, why can't I play it? For some reason, just because a game is downloaded to your PlayStation doesn't mean you can access it. You have to be the one that bought the license, you dumb fuck. This is gonna be demonetized immediately. Which is infuriating to me. I remember I couldn't play my copy of Kingdom Hearts, the complete collection, or whatever the hell they called it, because the account that I had it on, I didn't have the password to, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just play it on my other account. I had to go out of my way to try to figure out what that old account's information was, just to play it. And yeah, I wasn't going to buy it again. The game was like $60. I mean, $60 for like 9 games is pretty good, but still. What? It's on the console! Just let me play it! I think maybe it's designed to prevent people from being able to access games if they stole a console. But you already stole the console at that point. Why are you stopping? Even Xbox doesn't do this shit. That's one of my biggest complaints with Sony. I absolutely hate that that's done that way. So, just thought you should know. Lots of gamers don't even have internet access. So, digital's not even really an option for them. And now they're selling digital-only consoles, which are slightly less high-performing than the disc consoles, but cheaper and better for convenience. Because convenience is what makes us want to buy digital, isn't it? The problem is that a digital console requires an internet connection. And some people don't even have internet access. So, like, let's say you get your grandma to buy little Timmy a PlayStation, and she buys the one that's cheaper because Grandma just wants the best for little Timmy and wants to get him a PlayStation because little Timmy got C's on his report card, and that's all they expected of him. What the hell am I talking about? But Grandma decides to buy the cheaper console. The one that's not $500 but $400. But what if Timmy doesn't have an internet connection? Grandma bought him a brick. My whole point is, some consoles and just some games, you have to have internet to even access digital media. And for the longest time, I didn't have an internet connection out of my dad's house. So, much less cable. So, anything I wanted to play, I had to have it. Anything I wanted to watch, I had to have the DVD. Or hope my service would work on YouTube. Most of the time it didn't. That sucks. And the problem was with the Xbox One. My dad got me the Xbox One Halo 5 edition for Christmas, like probably 6 years ago. And I was so excited to play it. Xbox One used to have this horrible problem. If you didn't have an internet connection, it would save stuff to the cloud, and it would just delete your progress behind you. I remember playing Fallout 4 for like 10 hours one day, and I got on there to play it the next day. All that progress was gone because I didn't have an internet connection. So that's fun. My point is with all of this is that digital's not even an option for everybody. So yeah, it's convenient for people who have access to all this stuff, but not everybody has access to that. You're just better off just buying a console with a disc because, like, yeah, you might not be able to play a version of the game that's patched up to date, but you can at least kind of play the game. Whereas if you just bought a digital thing and you don't have an internet connection, you can't play anything. We could play Chuck the PlayStation instead. That's all we can do. Because it's a brick. All that being said, I definitely see the appeal of digital games. I mean, like I said, it's convenience. It is convenient. There's so many pluses to it. But the deceptive and borderline corporate evil that lies beneath that convenience just rubs me the wrong way. And unless I just get like a really good deal, most of the time I'm just going to buy a game physically now. But there's sometimes I might just buy one digitally because I might have a good reason to. Let's list some of those good reasons, shall we? Like I said, sales are so much more frequent. You get publisher sales, indie sales, all kinds of stuff. Nintendo hardly ever puts their games on sale in person. But I'll go on the eShop and they'll be offering crazy deals. I think at one point you could like join Nintendo, Club Nintendo or something like that, and you could just get like a free Mario game. Which is insane. You could get it. You wouldn't own it, but you could play it for a bit. Which I'm not too scared of Nintendo taking down Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Because, you know, when that game was stopped being sold before, when the Wii U stopped getting games, they just brought the game back like a year or two later. And have still been adding content to it. Can you just make Mario Kart 9 already? Mario Kart 8's great though, thank you. And, you know, in the sake of protecting your collection of digital media, I don't know why I did the air quotes, a lot of those games can be recovered via the cloud because it's just saved onto your account. I think it's more so with the Xbox. You can just kind of recover it if, you know, maybe you download it onto a hard drive or something. There's ways to save your stuff in ways that you couldn't if you're physical. Yeah, if I get robbed and all my discs are stolen, yeah, that sucks. But hey, maybe they left the hard drive. I've probably got some stuff on there. That's a legitimately thing. That's something that can happen. Something to consider. I gotta be fair. There are great aspects to digital too. I'll be fair. Why not? And I know it's not exclusive to Virtual Console ports, but it's most common with virtual console ports, is that a lot of them offer save states that you can use to create a restore point and load restore points that can just make the game easier. If you're having a hard time getting through a tough game like Donkey Kong Country 2, create a restore point at a part of the level you don't want to play again. You know? There's legitimately good reasons for that. And I know that it's not just digital things that do that. Like the Castlevania collection, Mega Man Legacy collection. You can get those on disc, I'm pretty sure. And those offer restore points as well. But I just remember the Wii U eShop had a lot of creating restore points and loading restore points options for you. Rest in peace, Wii U eShop. Gone too soon. And my Wii U. My Wii U's also bricked, so I don't want to think about that or I'll get real sad. Like I said in the physical portion, you just have the convenience of not having to go to the store and dealing with anything that may come in your way. Just click on the store on the digital storefront. You got the game. You can even preload it. The game can be already at least downloaded. Maybe not have the day one patch, but at least downloaded. And when the game releases, you can play it. There's great aspects to it. I don't know, I just feel more comfortable owning the game physically and being able to look at it. But there's some great points to it. In addition to the fact that you can just download it quicker and you don't have to worry about it as much. You know, going to the store and dealing with people. You know, because gamers hate dealing with people. You can also just download the latest version faster. When you buy a game, every time I can think of it, it would download to like the most recent patch almost right away. Way quicker to me. Every time I re-download Fortnite, I'm pretty sure that it would just download to the most recent version of it. Which is nice. Because damn, that game updates a lot. But, I mean, what other game can I play as Nathan Drake and hang out with Goku? Not the Tom Holland one, the regular Nathan Drake. Some games are also just expensive as hell. I remember when I wanted to buy Xenogears, because I'm a huge Xenoblade fan. You probably can tell by the fact that I got a bunch of shit over there. I don't think you can see it. But the first part of this video, when my example for a physical game, it was Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which is probably my favorite game ever. I wanted to play Xenogears really badly. But that game goes for crazy amounts of money if you want to actually get it legit. So, I got it off the PS3 store way cheaper. It was just, it was so much nicer. The game would be like $300 if I wanted to track it down on eBay or something, I bet. I bought it for $10 on the PS3 store. And I bet you're wondering, didn't Sony shut down access to the PlayStation 3 store? No. They didn't. They only shut down access to putting your credit or debit card on there. There's still ways you can actually buy games on there, and I'll tell you how to do that now. And you can do it all from your phone. And the PS3 too, but you get my point. So, all you have to do is go to the PS3 store, go to redeem code, and you don't even have to go to the store to get one. Just buy a PlayStation gift card, and then it'll get you a code. Those codes still work on the PS3 store. So I got a bunch of rare games, or, you know, rare for, like, the fact that hard to get them on physical, for like $10 each or something like that. It just saved me so much time. I got Xenogears, Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, Dino Crisis, games I wouldn't ever really think I'd be able to get just randomly one day without having to spend an arm and a leg to get. Just because the PlayStation 3 store still works. Go do that now, because who knows when they'll take away gift card functionality from that, please go do it. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Not even just retro games. They have like some newer stuff too. It's definitely worth doing. They got a lot of great stuff on there. I definitely recommend doing that if you still have a PS3. Even with all the good to be considered about digital games, I think I'm just gonna always prefer physical, just because I feel more safe knowing that those games, unless they get stolen or I need to sell them for some reason, which you can actually sell a physical game. Try selling a digital code, you numbnuts. Those games aren't going anywhere. They feel permanent in a way. Whereas digital, if I ever sell that console or just stop using it, I'm going to forget that I have that game, I think. I like to know that these games belong to me and they're not going to go anywhere. But I'd be lying if I said there isn't a lot of good stuff with digital. I'll still play a digital game till the sun comes up. It's just, I like the consumer practices slightly more for physical when it comes to a secure purchase. But if I want a good deal, digital. And convenience. I think what it boils down to is just what works best for you. What you think is a good avenue for you to go down. Do you want digital media and cheaper, more convenient, and not have to worry about going to the store? And probably better deals? Or do you want to be a collector of sorts like I think I am? And own a product and be able to look back on it and think about, yeah, that's mine. I can physically pick it up and hold it and believe it's mine because it feels like it belongs to me in a sense. I just like that a lot. But there's good aspects to both. I just wanted to point out some of the more deceptive things that you don't know about digital. And why, even if you don't really care about physical media, I do think it's important to preserve it because eventually all this stuff is going to be lost one day. Digital stuff might just get turned into corrupted data that you can't access anymore. You might lose a hard drive. But I feel like it's a lot harder to lose a game case. And I don't know, something just feels optimistic to me about preserving physical media. I feel like it's not going anywhere. I dropped Luigi and I dropped my pointer at Luigi. And as long as you enjoy the games and just don't let a big evil CEO man take advantage of you, I don't think it should be the biggest deal. I just think it's something you should keep in mind. Just keep an open mind to all of this. There's great aspects to both. I just wanted to point out my perspective on it. I think I get why the issue is so important to me now when to most people it probably wouldn't be. I can see there are some admittedly cool upsides to digital. I think in the long run, and in the interest of preserving my hobby, physical to me is more important. All these discs and cartridges, they're mine. And all of them are a physical representation of the memories I have with these games. Fond reminder of the good times with the games themselves, and how and where I would add a new game to my collection, and the fun discussions with my friends about our collective experience about our favorite games. Which reminds me, I really need to make a video about how discussions and recommendations from my friends really made gaming more fun for me again. I don't know if that'll be my next one, but we'll get to it eventually. Stay tuned for that, I guess. I have such a burning passion for this stuff that I think that's why it's so important to me. And ultimately, as long as I can access this stuff, I'm not going to cry about it too much. But I do take a lot of stuff into account. There's a lot of stuff that's just not available anymore because of digital, and I like to think that I can keep a lot of this stuff if I own it and prolong my hobby and just keep it going for a little bit longer. I think what's most important with all of this to me is that regardless on if you prefer digital over physical, I still think it's important to preserve physical media when it's a dying breed, you know? Companies are trying to get rid of it when I think that it will always be important, whether or not everybody thinks so or not. Live services and streaming services go away, and the discs and the cartridges for this stuff don't. I just think that it's important to keep this stuff, even if you don't think it's important or not. But for now, if you can, drop digital. Or if you just don't want to, no pressure. I've been working on this video on and off for about a month now. This is something I've always wanted to do, was YouTube. And this video is very important to me. And this part's not really scripted, so if it's a little out of touch, you know, sorry. If you can't tell, between the first part and the second part, I have a time skip mustache because, you know, the second half of this video got corrupted, so I had to redo it when I had some free time a few weeks later. Or, no, it was about a week. And I totally have a time skip mustache to show that time had passed. Not because my cat accidentally scratched my lip and I'm scared there's a scar under there, so I didn't bother shaving. It's definitely not that. But I just wanted to thank you for watching. And this was definitely a passion project that I am very, very careful about. And I wanted to make sure I did it to the best of my ability. Still learning, obviously. But thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit that people always say at the end. I'm going to try not to say that too much, I hope. Because sometimes that can get annoying, I think. But we're starting real small, so I'm going to say it this time. You know, thank you for watching. And anybody out there who's wanting to make something themselves, just start. You're going to be kind of lost in the wind for a while. I know I have been. But I think ultimately stuff like that, any artistic avenue that you can go down, that you need to go down, I think it's worth it. And I think you should do it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. And walk on.